secret ingredient for infusing your child with greater self-esteem. First, before we share that, as Bubba used to say, there are two things a person can't take credit for: how their children turns out and how their children turn out. Because you could still put all the ingredients in, but somehow it comes out a little bit differently. So let's appreciate that, every child is on their own they're on their own path, and it's not about finger pointing. It's not about sometimes it's not about someone doing anything wrong. So we're talking about what we can do that, statistically speaking, what Chazal, what the rabbis show us through the lens of psychology, helps to infuse our children with a greater sense of self. And that is as follows. Any child that grows up that's made to feel like a chore, any child that feels like an obligation, like they're getting in the way of their parents' happiness, will have a very hard time feeling good about themselves. This is because children by definition are egocentric, and they're supposed to be. We know adults like this as well, but at least by children it makes sense, right? Children, they don't have a Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov equation. So the world revolves around them. Everything's about them, and again, it's supposed to be. So how their parent treats them is a direct reflection of their feelings of self-worth. What 7-year-old, for example, is going to say, wow, Dad's yelling at me right now, but he had a hard day at work, he lost an account, so I'm going to let him let off some steam, he'll have a drink, he'll calm down, and it'll be fine. No. The child is going to assume that there's something broken, bad, defective, something wrong about him that would lead to his parents' behavior. Because again, every child naturally assumes that how I'm treated means this is what I'm worth, which is why it certainly behooves us to be very careful in our interactions with our children. And also it helps to understand maybe why we are the way we are today, in spite of our parents' best efforts. So, the million-dollar question is, how does a parent communicate to their children that they are the path to the happiness and not the obstacle to it? So there are a number of ways, and those of you familiar with my talks on Torah Anytime, we flesh this out many, many times in many talks, but in brief, it works like this. First off is expressing it, telling your child, I love you, I'm so happy to see you. Literally expressing it verbally and non-verbally. We don't realize sometimes how little we smile at our children, particularly the tough cookies, but genuinely expressing appreciation that they're in your presence can go a very long way. A big warm smile and a nice greeting, enthusiasm. Spending time with your child, of course. Time is the commodity of kings. Your children know how busy you are, in part because you're always telling them how busy you are. But when you sacrifice, you trade, your time to spend time with your child, and you let them know that, they can't help but feel good. Because again, children are entirely egocentric. So if mom or dad are taking time away from what they're doing to spend it with me, it must be because I'm worth something. So when you choose to spend time with your child, how you do it makes all the difference. I'd encourage you to have it be as simcha as possible, as joyful as possible. Yelling at your child to get dressed so you can go out and take them out for ice cream and then be on your phone half the time, it's not going to do a lot for the relationship.